About 15 years ago, when I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, I was really fortunate to have a place to do really great work, and I was really pushing myself often, like a lot. And I met and cooked for this gentleman by Nobu Fukuda, which is a Japanese chef from Tokyo. He and I just became fast friends and cooked with each other, for each other, and just, I'd do events with him while still running my own restaurant there. And he just became a huge inspiration and influence on me. And we stayed in touch over the years and whatnot, but that really sparked, I saw the work he did and was just mesmerized, like enamored by it and of him, and studied it on my own to really explore what we've done here at OKO. You just have to make the commitment to creating its own entity, its own four walls, and that was certainly a really big jump into or out of my comfort zone, which I loved. I mean, I've been doing this the great majority of my life, so we started it out as a little kind of, I hate to use the word experiment, but we started doing this like tiny little omakase at the cottage, which I own in Westport, and that, I'd be making the nigiris, the sushi, and doing all of that there, and it was a huge success. We introduced the okonomiyaki, which of course became the name. OKO is a shorthand for that. So that kind of validation from our guests who would become our other guests at OKO was really, I think that sealed the commitment on my part. It's really not about me. It's absolutely about everyone, and I know this sounds cliche, but the entire team and how they work together and how they contribute to the evolution of the menu with me. Of course, that is I author the menu, I write the menu, but how we all do it together is essential. So I was there for just shy of a month, but it was a very intensive, first of all, it was a complete gift to, be able to go at, with the family and kids at home and two restaurants, one restaurant at the time, and to travel. And I had a woman who was a friend that I made her acquaintance through a guest at the restaurant at the cottage, and she'd grown up in Tokyo, and she was immediately like, how can I help you? And introduced me to two different chefs. One, they both owned and ran these 2-star Michelin kaiseki style restaurants, which is a very, incredibly seasonally inspired style of rather elaborate tea ceremony driven style restaurants. And we went up to my office. She FaceTimed these gentlemen in Tokyo and Kanazawa, and I was set. They picked me up at the train stations and brought me to their homes, and I worked 16 hours a day in their restaurants, and it was, which is a normal thing. I was just thrust into that culture. Virtually no English spoken other than a Google Translate. A lot that I learned was validating of the things that I'd already been doing. I felt like I was really, really fully connected. There was nothing overwhelming to me that was like, wow, I really don't think I can communicate this. I liken it oftentimes to being a musician, even though I'm not, about learning another instrument and how to approach it, right? So I approach the style depending of what we want to do here with Japanese cooking of, first of all, not trying to be a traditionalist, because I'm not Japanese. I have way too much respect to for Japanese culture and all cultures. I wouldn't take a cocky approach and be like, and underestimate the importance of really studying it, and every day is a new day of doing that, of approaching it with lots of respect and humility. So I've had a lot of fun and in expressing myself as a chef with 60% of our fish we get from Japan, the others we get from a lot of local waters and some from the Pacific Northwest. So that the techniques of whether it's curing the fish or just aging the fish a little bit has been really awesome. It's such a beautiful thing to take on. It's a real gift to have, to be able to just keep recreating yourself a little bit as a chef. Originally, sushi was made by curing and fermenting mackerel in rice. Yeah, it's like a whole, I love the history of it too. That's another point. I love the history of food in all cultures, and Japanese is just extraordinarily it's really fascinating. So yeah, mackerel was fermented in the rice, and the rice was discarded after the fermentation process, and then eventually rice became wait a minute, that rice is really good to serve the fish on. It could be subjective, but for me, it's clearly, the care of the rice, the frequency with which you make the rice, more or less ongoing throughout the night, keeping it at the right temperature, having your own kind of trade secrets, I suppose, on how, what your ratios of your vinegar, what type of vinegar you use, how you wash the rice. There's lots of different variables in there, and what works for you and what works for you. We have this our amazing sous chef Tan. He does just a wonderful job here, and the fish. So I think I would absolutely say it's equal parts the rice and the fish. I think they're absolutely. There's no one can do without the other at the same level of quality.